What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Weisz.
Hey, everybody. This is John Corcoran with Dr. Jeremy Weisz, and this episode is a little bit different. This is a live interview that we recorded at the Global Leadership Conference from Entrepreneurs Organization, where some of the best entrepreneurs from around the globe gathered in Washington, D.C. to share ideas and to learn about entrepreneurship. And of course, this episode is brought to you by Rise 25, where we help B2B businesses to give to and to connect to their Dream 100 relationships and partnerships, helping you to run a podcast so that it generates a referral pipeline and ROI.
Yeah, I mean, John, after both of us have been podcasting for over a decade, the number one thing in our life is relationships. And we're always looking at ways to give to our best relationships. And we found no better way to do that over the past decade than to profile the people and companies we admire and shout from the rooftops what they're working on. And this interview is no different. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should go to rise25.com to learn more, or email us at support@rise25.com.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the interview.
Enjoy. Jeremy Weisz here. We're live from EO, the Global Leadership Summit, and this is brought to you by Rise 25. I'm here with Peter. And Peter, tell people about your company and what you do.
Well, so my company is Percona, and we provide solution in open source database space.
Okay. So for a layperson like me, break it down. What does that mean? What does a business want from you?
Well, so if you think about modern internet, beyond pretty much any service you use, beyond Facebook, Twitter, Netflix, wherever, there is a database where all that data is stored. And that database needs a lot of a pretty complicated special care. And that is something what we provide.
How'd you get into this?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of just liked it from my teenage years. I know there was something sexy for me with databases. I know that's weird, but that's how it was.
We should get you a t-shirt. You're not sexy unless you know databases, right? What type of clients come to you?
Well, it's a variety of clients. Typically, that is the folks for which databases are important, mission critical for their business. And that may be something of a growing SaaS companies, as well as many enterprises are our customers. You know, Fortune 500, Fortune 100.
So SaaS company, what kind of problems are they experiencing when they're like, we need to call Peter and his company?
Well, if you look at that, often problem is when the database does not scale, right? And the database is often that's kind of a messy area in your infrastructure, which is actually pretty hard to scale, right? You just cannot throw more money at the problem and solve it, right? You need the expertise. And if your database doesn't work, well, your application doesn't work.
So do people know that because it's not loading fast? Like, what are some of the symptoms of their database not scaling?
Well, yes. I mean, if you're going to a web page and you see it's kind of loading and loading and loading, right, and then says can't load, well, chances are that is because the database is malfunctioning. It's not always the database, but it's often enough is the database.
So you live in the States, but you grew up in Russia. So I'd love for you to talk about what it was like in Russia and what you bring from your experience from Russia to what you do now.
Yeah, so indeed I was born in Soviet Union at the time, grew up mainly in Russia, and I think it was a very interesting experience for me going through that period of change, right? When you born and raised when the Soviet Union was kind of this country which is the greatest country in the world, which never can fall apart, right? And then boom, you're living in a completely different country with completely different rules in just a few short years. And I think for me that maybe created some of distrust of the government, self-reliance, maybe kind of pushed me to that being kind of entrepreneur. So I think, yeah, that's may come from there.
What was it like there for someone who wasn't there and is trying to visualize what it was, the experience was like to grow up there?
Well, I think it was different in different stages, right? I think I remember, for example, when we had a very limited choices, right? In my early choices, right? It's kind of people would have money, but they wouldn't have stuff to spend it on. And then after the perestroika and kind of moving to those more kind of capitalist society, things completely changed, right? You would have a lot of stuff you can buy, but you wouldn't say have any money, right? So that was a very...
Two at the same time would be nice. Money and stuff to buy.
Absolutely, yes. If it would be both, that would be fantastic.
Peter, how do companies find you? Because you have a wide range of companies that need you, but there's some larger companies too. How do they end up finding you?
Well, we invest a lot in really working with community, right? And specifically open source database community, developer community, right? So if you would be looking for solutions, let's say you have a problem with MySQL or Postgres or MongoDB, chances are you will land on Percona website. As well as we have also pretty mature marketing team and awesome enterprise sales team, right, which also help to make sure that we are known.
What works if someone's out there like, I have a company and we focus on enterprise like clients. Mm-hmm. What works from an enterprise sales perspective? What are some of the things they're doing to get the attention of enterprise companies?
Yeah. Well, I think it can be variety for different companies, and I know from my network, right, it's many recipes. What we try to always focus on is making sure what people both in the C-suite understand us, right, and we have people who can deal with them, right, as well as geeks also understand and love us, right? Because what I want, if you look at the CEO or CTO saying, hey, you know what, I heard from this company, Percona, what do you think about them? I want the tech guy to say, oh yeah, Percona, it is awesome, right? If you want to start working with them, just go ahead, right?
You need to sign off on both fronts, on the C-suite and on all the technical people.
That's right, yes. And often it's a lot more teams, right? I think that's what was a big learning from me, kind of going from SMB sales and kind of startup sales to enterprise, is how many more cooks in the kitchen there are. Right.
It's tough to navigate.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's only getting tougher, with all the additional regulations like security concerns and so on and so forth, right? You get with pretty, complicated stuff with agreements those days.
Peter, so where can people learn more? What's the website people can check out?
Well, percon.com. That is our website.
How do you spell it?
Percona. That's how you spell it, right? Or you can look for Peter Zaitsev. That's myself, right? And you can find me on the social.
Percona.com. Check it out. Live from GLC.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like $100 grand.